All right, Patrick, let's start with the first kind of sticky note here on market statistics. There's actually quite a bit happening because the month is kind of reset here. We're starting to get some data for August. We're starting to get some data for September. By the way, folks, if you don't like having to wait so long to get data, I'm going to show you how you can get instant up to the minute data at your fingertips in real time. I'll show you that in a little bit though. But Patrick, what's happening right now is home resales is really where we're going to start. Home resales fell 1.9% month over month nationwide. You and I are not big fans of nationwide, but this is what the Bank of Canada looks at. And in fact, that's where this is going, because after we cover a bit of market statistics here, Patrick, I'm going to ask you to make a prediction.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Another prediction on what the Bank of Canada is going to do next week, because we're going to get another rate announcement.
Well, I think we need to, really dial a couple things in. First and foremost, the Bank of Canada makes decisions based on really two markets. Like if they're weighting those markets, Toronto, Vancouver are going to be weighted heavy in terms of whatever decision making that they're going through. And so those are the biggest parts of our population. That's where the markets are. This national kind of housing statistic that they're always showing is based primarily on those two markets, a little bit of course, what's happening in Montreal. But I think we have to really, point this out. And it's hard to be critical of the talking heads, JG, but if I hear one more, because we're talking heads technically, right? But if I hear one more person on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever it might be, with their agenda, lots of realtors, lots of brokers, talking about this housing bubble, I'm going to lose my mind. Because they're actually now comparing the most recent one, who has a very significant following. I literally wanted to reach out to him and choke him. Dude, quit saying and comparing Toronto to Calgary. He's literally saying Toronto's in a bubble and Calgary's not far behind. It just is driving me crazy. And he's making it all about housing prices. Like there's no data supporting it. There's not about economic fundamentals. It's about market sentiment, and it's about how the world's coming to an end in the housing market. It just makes me nuts. There's nothing to support it. That's my little rant right now. Sorry
I call them Twexperts. Twexperts,
yes.
Twitter experts, yeah. Twexperts. I introduced that term on the last episode. Are you referring to Twexperts, Patrick? Twexperts?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm referring to. But as soon as somebody compares Toronto to Calgary, I go, you have no clue what you're talking about. Like they're totally different markets.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is sell real estate. So, that's usually the agenda that's behind it. But let's look at some real data, Patrick, in terms of what's happening right now. We are going to show the regionality of this market here in just a second. But before, let's cover kind of some national statistics. So nationally, home resales fell 1.9% month over month. And this is the third consecutive month decline. So you can see that in this chart here. And that's really across Canada has thrown the market into what across the country we're calling a balanced market. That's how that's the sales to new listings ratio is now at 0.51, which makes it smack dab in the middle of a balanced market. Now, Patrick, you and I drives us crazy because you got to look at the regionality of these markets, because the entire country is not in a balanced market. Some are in a buyer's market. In fact, a lot of markets are in a buyer's market, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But this is what's going on nationally, Patrick. And definitely you can see we had spiked up into a seller's market. We're back down into a balanced market. The what's the word? Pandanomium? No, I don't know. That's a French word. I was trying to make up a French word there. It's not working for me. So let's just keep going.
But I think there's something to note about a national number. I mean, this goes back to 2000 or whatever it is. And, if you're comparing apples to apples, you look at this market and you go, okay, nationally, this is what's happening. So we just happen to know that. So if you're looking at it just as a comparative over this number of years, you go, okay, we're back where we were. You see the spike that happened in, through the pandemic and the results of that. So you are comparing apples to apples on a national level. We just know what makes up that national stat. And so that's what we have to be aware of. It's primarily going to be driven by Toronto, even Toronto GTA, and then Vancouver.
Just to recap, home resales, which is the volume, is down 1.9%. Across Canada, we're looking at a balanced market, pretty much smack dab in the middle of that. And then the MLS home price index is up 1.1% across Canada. Now, This is a perfect example, Patrick, of how some people get misguided by these headlines because it's very different what's happening in different markets. Some prices, and we'll show you in just a second with the DI Vault, how we have this new AI technology that you could actually see what's happening in each individual market instead of relying on this kind of national weather report, if you will, this national house price report, which makes no sense as a real estate investor.
Yeah, you're going to have to keep breaking down the markets. We seem to be kind of saying that to nauseum, but it's such an important, and people still get caught in the headlines of what's happening nationally. I think we have to pay attention to it. I think at the end of the day as well, even if you look at this chart, JG, it goes back once again. It goes back to 2000, and are real estate prices off their highs? 100%. You look at it and it's pretty obvious. And then we know that, in fact, when you look at those larger markets where there was a lot of transactions happening, especially in that condo market, which was really where a lot of volume was happening, there just wasn't. And I mean, yes, a lot of detached sold as well. But let's put it this way: you look at the peak, and are we off of the peak? 100%. But it's not like the bottom's fallen out of the market. If you want to compare apples to apples using this chart, you go, no, it's not that bad.
So let's have a peek. Let's dive into DI Vault here, and you can have a see here, folks. Anything that is red, this is the 30-day price change. Anything that's red means the prices have been lowering in the last 30 days. Anything that's green means they've been increasing. Anything that's yellow, they've been neutral. Okay. Now here's what's, Patrick, you and I talk about regionality all the time, but here's what's fascinating. When you look at a chart like this, if I just zoomed into Oshawa a little bit here, I love it how you can see it on the east side of Oshawa as you approach Bowmanville. In the last 30 days, prices have been going down. But central Oshawa, prices have been going up in the last 30 days. I mean, literally, these are neighboring markets, Patrick, that are divided by streets. Like we're talking about one street apart, and that's the difference. So when you look at an overarching report like Canada's house prices are up 1.1% or down 5% or whatever the case may be, it's so misleading for real estate investors. And this is what's been happening in the last 30 days. And I'll show you, we have up to the minute what's been happening in the last 90 days. And you could see that the market changes. It looks at the trend for the last 90 days, and regions that were red are now could still be green in this case, because we got to look at what's been happening over 90 days and 30 days to get an accurate picture of the actual region that you're investing in. And Patrick, this is what a sophisticated investor needs: access to tools like this, specifically this one, folks, DI Vault. You got to get in on this tool because the technology makes it so easy for you to know exactly where the market is instead of guessing based on headlines, Patrick.
Well, you make such a great point. I think when you look at real estate investing in Canada, I mean, that's a program that we've taught for 30 years. The Real Estate Investment Network, Real Estate Investing in Canada, it's a system, it's a process. We've shared thousands of times about the regionality right down to the neighborhood. What this technology has opened up the opportunity for us is to get really granular and make it far easier. Yes, we always did the research, but it was like really manual research, relatively speaking. So when you take real estate investing in Canada, learning how to invest in real estate the right way, marry it to the technology that gives you the data that you need to make decisions. I mean, this, from my point of view, technology is the game changer for investors and where and how you grow a portfolio in the future.
If you like what you learned here, go to the description below and subscribe for our free Insiders newsletter, where you can also stay up to date for our upcoming events and our courses.
If you want to see more stuff like this, click here. If you want to see the entire show, click there.